Hello everybody, welcome to the Political Vigilante. My name is Graham Elwood. You are all watching this show, so you know what you're doing? You're making Gotham great again. Even though when I move, you see the reflection of my laptop, that's what that is. Because I don't have a fancy studio, but it's great to watch all these corporate media people having to live stream in their own apartments and homes. It's kind of great. Yeah, welcome to being a YouTuber. That's what it's like. That's what it's like. They're doing it on their phones or whatever else. Maybe I should go back to doing it on my phone. So one of the great ways you can support the show is go to patreon.com/Graham Elwood and submit articles like this one from Lauren D'Alessandro. The Great Affordability Crisis Breaking America. This article was February 7th. In one of the best decades the American economy has ever recorded, families were bled dry. Why is this important? Because it's outlining all of the financial problems America was and is having before the pandemic. This is February 7th. We hadn't really been, COVID-19 was like, we had just heard about it a month prior, maybe. In January, it was December 31st, we heard about it. January, we sort of heard about, oh, it's that thing over in China, and didn't quite know what was going on yet in America. We started talking about it a little bit. But now when this article came out, and I'm going to break through all the issues that America was having prior to this pandemic that are now being exacerbated by this complete shutdown. Right? We're sitting here, and as of today, which is the evening of March 24th, Congress and the Senate still haven't quite figured out a bill yet to bail people out. They're telling all of us we can't work. They're shutting things down, and in 7 days, all of us have rent due. In 1 week from tomorrow, everybody's mortgage and rent is due. And people haven't been working for what will be it'll be at least 2 weeks of not working. How are we all supposed to pay our bills? I just got my cell phone bill and my Wi-Fi bill. And I'm strapped. I'm strapped. I lost a bunch of money from the road. But that I'm actually in a good, I'm doing better than many because I can make money on the internet. But boom, 30% of my revenue gone from road shows. Ron and I doing Progressive Comedy Tour and doing Jimmy Dore shows live. Those are all gone. I don't know when they're coming back. We're going to make an official announcement soon, but the Seattle and Portland dates in April are going to be rescheduled. We're going to have to reschedule them to the fall, because Seattle is shutting everything down. Portland is shutting everything down. We'll make an official announcement soon, but the April tour dates are gone. We've got May tour dates. I don't know. I hope that we'll get on the other side of this. It took China and South Korea about 8 to 10 weeks to get on the other side of this. So we'll get on the other side of this. But what is happening, it's exposing two things. One, just how bad capitalism really is with a for-profit healthcare system. And two, how bad it was before the pandemic. In the 2010s, the national unemployment rate dropped from a high of 9.9% to its current rate of just 3.5%. The economy expanded each and every year. Wages picked up for high-income workers as soon as the Great Recession ended, and picked up for lower-income workers in the second half of the decade. So then they talk about the economy's doing great, the economy's doing great. But they never talk about how expenses have gone through the roof. So even these like wage increase gains, it's meant nothing. It's meant nothing. In one of the best decades the American economy has ever recorded, families were bled dry by landlords, hospital administrators, university bursars, and child care centers. Viewing the economy through a cost of living paradigm helps explain why roughly 2 in 5 American adults would struggle to come up with $400 in an emergency so many years after the Great Recession ended. Record gains. Oh, everybody's doing great. Even if you are making more, even if there are better jobs out there, even if there is more money to be made, it all gets gobbled up. Nobody has more savings. People haven't. One of the best ways for upward mobility in America was to buy a house, right? you got a decent job, paying good money, you worked your way up that kind of, you started to save some money, you bought a house, maybe you get married, you buy a house, that house appreciates in value, you sell that house, get into a better house in a better neighborhood, and that's how you acquire wealth. That was the single best, easiest way, homeownership. That's the American dream, right? You work hard, you go to college, get a good job, boom. No one can buy houses anymore. It demonstrates why a surprise furnace repair bill, parking ticket, court fee, or medical expense remains ruinous for so many American families despite all the wealth this country has generated. Fully 1 in 3 households is classified as financially fragile. 1 in 3. A month before, 5 weeks before things started getting shot down. Right around the 11th, 12th is when everything started shutting down. Because it went quick, right? The 11th, Ron and I were supposed to fly to Florida for the Progressive Comedy Tour. That night, they shut down the NBA and the NHL, and that's when we decided to cancel our tour. And they shut down Miami, they shut down the beaches, and everything's been going like that since. 1 in 3 families are financially fragile before this, and now people can't work. And the idiots, Pelosi and McConnell and this moron Trump, they're all idiots. You're seeing how horrible the two-party system is. This is the two-party system in the middle of a crisis, bickering over this crap. The Democrats voted down UBI. The Republicans are holding out because they don't want money going for Planned Parenthood. Oh, God. These two useless, worthless parties. And what's Trump offering? Oh, socialism. Gee, if the Democratic Party hadn't cheated in 2016, like it's doing right now in 2020, and we had Bernie Sanders, who would have beat Trump, had Hillary and the Democratic Party not cheated. Donna Brazile said in her book, Hillary Clinton was controlling the Democratic Party, which made their party corrupt. One of the candidates running for president having control of the party means that it's not a fair primary. Well, the Democratic Party, they're a private organization. They should be able to do what they want. No, they use public funded buildings for their elections and their primaries. Libraries, schools, that means they get tax dollars, which means no, they are beholden to the American people to run a fair election. Their own charter says it. So wrong on that again. So had Bernie Sanders not been cheated in 2016, he would have beat Trump head to head. We would have Medicare for all now more than likely. If Bernie Sanders was president and they were still bitching and not giving him Medicare for all, now he would be like, we're in the middle of this crisis. This is what we're doing. We need Medicare for all. We need it now. And everything that Trump is talking about and all Americans is right. All of a sudden, everybody loves socialism now. Everybody wants democratic socialism because you see when you need it. When a government is needed is during a crisis. The government is telling 330 million Americans to stay home, to not work, to not go to school, and we can't pay for anything. You want to give me $1,200 a month? That doesn't even cover my rent. So you're going to tell me to not work and not go outside. You better shut down there better just be a 60 to 90 day, just no more bill. No one has to pay any bill. And we'll give you $1,200 a month and you can just use that to buy groceries and stay home. If you really want to beat this virus, that's what you got to do. Not give the Wall Street trillions of dollars. They've given Wall Street 6, 8 trillion. I don't know. I've lost track in the last month. So we're seeing if we had real progressive policies, that's what this whole article is about. The price of housing represents the most acute part of this crisis. In metro areas such as the Bay Area, Seattle, Boston, severe supply shortages have led to soaring prices. Home prices are rising faster than wages in roughly 80% of American metro regions. And it's affecting rural areas too. It's not just the big cities. It's rural, it's smaller towns. It's affecting everybody. Everyone's seeing every town I've ever visited in the last 2-3 years, they go, well, the rent's, and I go, wow, that rent's really cheap compared to living in Los Angeles. But they're like, yeah, man, it keeps going up. In these mid-level cities like Omaha and Nashville and stuff like that, I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it. And then people in those small towns, there's not good jobs, so they move to the big cities where there's better wages, and then the cost of living kills them. One central effect of the housing cost crisis has been to turn the United States into a country of renters. The homeownership rate has fallen from a peak of nearly 70% in the mid-aughts to under 65% today. You can't afford to buy a house, and the group that's hit the hardest is millennials, who are in their late 20s and 30s. That's when you're starting to advance in your career. That's when people start to settle down and get married and have a family. That's when you buy a house. I was 30 years old when I bought my first house. Right? That American dream is gone. And they wonder why so many young people call themselves democratic socialists, and so many of them want to vote for Bernie Sanders. And they get so mad when they watch people want to back Joe Biden, who has dementia. Joe Biden, what Trump is doing, he's offering, and I don't know if Trump will do it. He's an idiot. But Trump at least said, oh, we're going to shut everything down. We're going to get everybody money. We're going to do all these democratic socialist things. And then all these people who a month ago were like, Bernie's a communist, were like, yeah, we need some socialism. And Joe Biden, him and Obama should have done these things in 2009. Imagine if Obama and Biden gave $2 trillion to the American homeowner, the American car owner. People, the recession hit, people couldn't pay their cars. The car companies were struggling. They couldn't pay their mortgages. What if they gave everybody, like, my accountant did the numbers and said the money that was given in stimulus between Obama and Bush could have equated to $70,000 a house, and a working adult. They could have done that. They could have given, not to the fucking banks, or give it to the banks and say, here's what you need to do. You need to erase bring everybody's mortgages back to current. Any late fees, boom, knock it down, knock everybody's mortgage fees in half, boom. They could have done it that way. They just gave the banks a blank check and let them do whatever they want, and they didn't hold any of them accountable. And Obama and Biden arrested, prosecuted zero bankers. In Iceland, they went to jail. 0 bankers went to jail. So Obama and Biden could have been the heroes, and we'd all go, wow, the Democratic Party, that's why I voted for Obama. That's why I put him in there. He said he was going to rescue us, and that's why the Democratic Party's better. But they're not better. They're not. They could have done all these things in place. So all this wealth was created after the recession, but it didn't translate into lower costs of living for Americans. Because we have a oligarchy. We have a kleptocracy run by oligarchs, the corporations. And this is the thing, what America is seeing. We need the average worker. We need who's going to go work at the grocery store? Who's going to unload the trucks with the grocery supplies and the toilet paper and the vegetables and the food that we all need? The healthcare workers, the frontline healthcare workers. And they don't have enough masks. They don't have enough medical equipment. You know what happened in Russia because of our sanctions during the Obama years? You know what Russia learned to do? Make their own products, grow their own food. They couldn't export because they were sanctioned. So now, in a country of 146 million people, they have a real low rate of coronavirus. They lock the borders down immediately. See, all this globalization, we ship. China's making our masks and medicine. It's made all over the world for cheap so CEOs can save a couple of bucks. The American worker gets screwed out of good jobs. You don't have union jobs here. And now we're scrambling. And car companies and other factories are being good Americans. You're hearing all these heartfelt stories of like, well, Ford is going to make respirators, and this company is going to make masks, and this distillery is making hand sanitizer. There's not enough masks. I go to some restaurants for takeout and they got gloves on, but they're not wearing masks. I'm not buying food if you ain't got a mask on. I'm sorry, I'm not. They should be wearing masks. I mean, I just watched an article, a thing on TV. The airport and airline employees were being packed into these shuttle buses being carried to LAX and back. And they were taking, like, packed in. Where's this? There's no social distancing. If all the CEOs and billionaires have to stay home, the economy doesn't shut down. But when the worker has to stay home, we're seeing how important the worker is, which is why we need a general strike. But let's get back to all these things Obama could have done. And again, had Obama done the right things, had the DNC not cheated Bernie, we would be in a position to handle this pandemic. Dumbass Trump shut down the pandemic response team, whatever that was, the pandemic group or whatever the hell it was. He shut that down 2 years ago and was proud about it. And his dumb fucking supporters went, yeah, MAGA. Now what? Now what? You stupid Democratic Party. Healthcare costs are exorbitant too. Americans pay roughly twice as much for insurance and medical services as do citizens of other wealthy countries, but they don't have better outcomes. We pay twice as much, so we should have twice as better healthcare. We should have the most amazing healthcare system. This pandemic hits, boom, there's free tests. Everybody gets free help. The tests are done. Everyone's taken care of. There's hospital beds. Everything's great. No, it's worse. We're like some banana republic. We're not in a country. It's a corporation. We're just on our own. That's what the federal government is saying. We're on our own, and these two parties are just slap fighting each other. Boy, it'd be a real shame if COVID-19 ran through the Republican and Democratic Party establishment. Boy, that'd be a real shame. Boy, I would lose a lot of sleep. I'd be really bummed out. You know, why don't we make the Congress and the Senate and Trump and Mike Pompeo and all the CEOs and billionaires that actually run this country, why don't we make them frontline workers? Why don't we make them have to handle food and dollar bills and work for the medical? Why don't we have to have them do tests? I'd like to see Nancy Pelosi have to sit there and give tests, give COVID-19 tests at a drive-through facility. I want her to do that. I want Joe Biden to do that. I mean, he'll get lost because he's got dementia and his family is committing elder abuse by letting him do this. And it's dangerous for the United States of America. But that's what I'd like to see. Oh, wait, there's more. Half of students now take on loans of one kind or another to try for a higher educational degree. Outstanding debts typically total $20,000 to $25,000, requiring monthly payments of $200 to $300 a month. Student debt forgiveness, $1.5, $1.6 trillion is roughly what it would cost. The amount of money they've already given to Wall Street, they've given that like 5 times over. The amount of money Trump gave in a tax break could have wiped out student debt. We had free health care and free college, we wouldn't have this burden. So as wages went up, there would be more money actually for the economy. And just this parasitical dipshit CEO billionaire assholes, let me walk you through some basic economics. You suit-wearing fucksticks? If people aren't burdened with debt and medical costs, and they have extra disposable income every month, they can spend it in the economy. Did you hear me, Bezos? He wants to have a fundraiser for his staff. Take it out of your own pocket, you bald-headed piece of shit. I'll slap your face. I just slap it. Just get out of here. Just slap your little bald head. Why don't you give up just one of the $150 billion that you have to your staff? Oh, wait, there's more. Finally, childcare spending on daycare, nannies, and other direct care services for kids has increased by 200% in the last 4 decades. What perhaps is most frustrating is that the great affordability crisis is amenable to policy solutions. It is so fixable. Do you notice how no one is screaming how we're going to pay for this $2 trillion? Today it was proposed. They're ironing out the details. They've been ironing out this since last goddamn week. Friday, they said we're going to have a deal done by Friday night. Monday, they couldn't get it. It's now the end of Tuesday. We still don't have a deal. Is anybody in the media asking, any of those parasites that asked Bernie Sanders how he's going to pay for his Medicare for all at all of the debates, the 10 or 11 debates that we've had? Have Anderson Cooper or any of those maggot-ridden dipshits asked the question, how are we going to pay for this $2 trillion stimulus plan? No. Because we're all seeing in real time the Federal Reserve can just issue money. MMT, learn it. Go to my playlist. Oh, now everybody wants democratic socialism. Well, then let's get the person that's been pushing for it for the last 3 or 4 decades. Bernie Sanders, not Joe Biden. If Bernie Sanders drops out and tells me to vote for Joe Biden, I will be furious, and I will be done with the Democratic Party. I will be done. I did scathing video, and we'll repeat, Tulsi Gabbard is a complete sellout. Because if Bernie, and yes, many people were mad when he did when he endorsed Hillary. I get it. I was mad too. There was nobody left. Tulsi had a choice. She's a sellout and an opportunist. 20 years ago, Bernie was fighting for these same things. You know, when Tulsi Gabbard was doing videos saying gay marriage is against God's law, when she was still parroting the cult crap that her dad fed her. So we can't trust her. She's a sellout. She's useless. All she's done is divide the left. Get her out of there. Bernie needs to be president. Done. We won't have Trump saying we're going to now Trump was saying we got to shut some stuff. Now he's saying no, in a couple of weeks we got to go back to business because he's worried about the economy because he's going to lose an election. That's how these assholes think. Bernie's thinking about how do we save lives. Trump's thinking about dollar signs and his corporate buddies and getting reelected. Policy solutions fix all of this. Medicare for all, boom. Free college tuition, boom. Student debt forgiveness, boom. This country has the money for all of it. Jailing the bankers, boom. Putting the CEOs on the front lines of this crisis. And if they get COVID-19, hey, thoughts and prayers. Thoughts and prayers, billionaires. Thoughts and prayers if you get COVID-19. I hope we have enough respirators for you. We might not. We could freeze your assets and make sure that all of America just take that to build respirators. Maybe we should do that. Maybe Mike Bloomberg, we should seize his $66 billion. Put him in a Taco Bell making food for takeout to help people. Handling money, you know what I mean? Cleaning buses. Maybe we should have Mike Bloomberg do that. We give us $66 billion to make more masks. Here in America, we put Americans. What if Americans were here building respirators and masks rather than having to get them from China? Shave your knuckles for justice. Hey everybody, like, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell notification button and the subscribe button, even if you've done it before, because they're unsubscribing, many of you, every day. Watch the ads all the way through. If you click skip ad, I don't get paid. Also, support us at patreon.com/Graham Elwood or rockfin.com/Graham Elwood. Rockfin.com is a blockchain cryptocurrency platform. All my videos are on Rockfin ad-free. Thanks for watching.